Hello guys, and welcome to another edition of Glenn's training accumulation block. So this is the last day of week one now, so we're on week one, day 4. So starting off now, we're doing some stiff-legged deadlifts. I've got to admit, I used to really hate these, but I am actually starting to like them now. They do actually have some good carryover to the main deadlift itself. Check out Tom Martin's Instagram. He loves stiff-legged deadlifts, and I was doing the MST bot, which is Shane Germain's program, and he's really big on them and all, and he's made a believer out of me, and I've got to admit, I'm loving them now. So today I'm employing a wave protocol on stiff-legged deadlifts. So basically the way it works is you have 2 waves and you do 3 sets on each wave. So you do 8 reps, then you do rest, then you do 5 reps, then you rest, and then you do 3 reps. And then you go back and do it all over again on the second wave, but with slightly heavier weight. So for the first set, I did 145 kilos for 8. This is the second set, 162.5 kilos for 5. And now I finish up with 180 for 3. So that's the first wave. We now move on to the second wave, and now I'm using, on the first set, I'm using the weight that I used on the second set on the first wave. So again, like as I say, it's 853 and then 853, but on the second wave, obviously you use slightly higher reps. Slightly higher weight. So this is a good protocol for you. Word of warning, though, it is a lot of sets of high reps, so it's not easy. It is quite a bit of volume to get through, but it does pay off. So here we're on the 180 for 5 now. I'm trying very hard to make a conscious effort to squeeze my glutes at the top. A bit of bend in the leg is fine, but you do want to try and keep your legs as straight as possible. So notice I've just got a bit of a bend at the top, but I'm trying to really keep my legs as straight as possible. So finish up on 192.5. I'll be doing that again next week, but with higher weights. Now we're moving on to the farmer's walk. This is Strongman Sunday now. So at the gym that I go to, we've got 2 different sets of farmer's walks. These that I'm pointing at now, these are the higher ones. As you can see, they've got quite a high pickup. Those handles weigh 24 kilos each, and they're quite nice. And then you've got these little nasty ones with a very low pickup, and the smaller farmer's walk handles are only 11 kilos each, but these are horrible. They're much harder, and as I said, I like making things harder sometimes, especially in the accumulation block. So I thought I'll start off today doing farmers, but with today I have to pick up a weight, hold it for 5 seconds. So this is the first set, 51 kilos per hand. So pick up the weight, hold for 5 seconds, and then carry it 15 metres. So this is just 51 kilos. These farmer's walk handles, though, they're not very well made. It's not the low pickup that's really a problem for me. It's the fact that them handles are so smooth, they might as well be made out of soap. You know, they are very smooth handles, and although I've tried to grab it central and all that, you can see that the handles are just begging to go forward, basically. And even though this was only 91 kilos a hand, this was very tough. I only barely finished that. You can't see it, but that was actually very hard for me. So anyway, like an idiot, I decided to go a little bit higher because I thought I could. So I went up to 96 kilos a hand. Bear in mind that this is the shitty low pickup farmers. Now, holding them and picking them up wasn't a problem. It's when I tried to move. Now, watch the farmer's walk handles on the right side. Notice they're wobbling all over the place. They're really wobbling like mad, and that just worked its way out of my hand. There was nothing I could do about it. I would like to add as well, I wasn't wearing chalk, but to be honest, I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. Those handles were really slippery. So now I've gone back to the bigger handles now, and I think I'm just going to stick with these, to be honest. Although I like to make things harder in my training, I don't think it's going to be that much benefit to use them shitty handles, so I'm going to stick with these big boys from now on. So I did 104 kilos in each hand. I have not used any chalk at all, so this is all done without chalk. So I'm holding for 5 seconds and then carrying it 15 metres. I'm working up to the heaviest weight. With the 104, I could have done more than that, but this is my first time doing this. I've never really held it before moving with it, so it's something a little different to do. When I do it next time, I'm going to do heavy farmers again in a couple of weeks' time, but it's going to be 3 pickups and then walk with it, so I will be going for much heavier weight then. So today, being week 1's just a taster session. Okay, so moving on now to the sandbag over yoke. So this sandbag weighs 117 kilos. That's 18.5 stone for you folks at home. Very small, compact and difficult to lift. Now, with that, I got it, but what happened is the sandbag split at the top. So this blue sandbag here, it actually come open where people have just slammed it down, and I knew that the sandbag was already open, so I bought some zip ties and I bought some black gaffer tape, and I put a couple of zip ties around the top of it, and I thought that would hold it. But when I did that first attempt, although you can't see it, when I put it over the yoke, it actually opened up and all the pebbles inside came out and sprayed all over that green. So I got it up again. I pulled it up now. It's actually a double layered sandbag, actually. There's 2 layers in there. So what I did this time is I put a zip tie, or a couple of zip ties, around the inner bag, and then on the outer bag I put loads and loads of gaffer tape. I got a friend to hold the bag for me, and then I got loads and loads of zip ties. Sorry, not zip ties. I put loads and loads and loads of gaffer tape around the sandbag, and that actually seemed to help, really. So then I went on and did my emom sets. Emom just basically means every minute on the minute. And this is, I must warn you, this is very tough. So I was supposed to do 12, but I actually did 10. This is very, very hard. This is quite extreme, to be honest. This is not easy at all. So I've just sped up the footage in between. So this is 10 minutes. I'm doing 1 minute, every minute on the minute for 10 minutes. And like I say, it is very tough. It takes about 20 seconds or so to actually get into position, lift it and chuck it over the bar. So my rest time is about 40 seconds roughly, and then I have to get up and do it all over again. 40 seconds is not a lot of rest, really. So because I'm having brief rest periods, it's really improving my conditioning. This is a really good one for conditioning. There's actually 4 different sandbags there. So there's a 40 kilo sandbag, a 72 kilo sandbag, and then you've got the 117 sandbag, which is the blue one that I'm using now, and then the red one is 136 kilos. So when doing this, I had to decide what weight to use. Obviously 40 is way too light. 72 I know would have been too light. And I have got a 105 kilo sandbag, but it is at home and I didn't fancy bringing it down. And to be honest, I don't really want to leave it there, because again, it's like this sandbag. If I leave it there, it'll just get chucked about and abused. It'll come wide open and then I'll have to tape it back up again, and that's not always easy. I'm not actually sure how long it's going to be before this one comes open, even though I've put a lot of tape around it to try and hold it in place. I mean, fortunately it held together for the full 10 minutes. But this, like I say, this sandbag carry is extremely taxing. I'm actually racked with pain all over my body. Actually, I'm feeling very fatigued. My thighs are really hurting. So is my back and all that. It's very draining work. I did mean to do 12, but when I did the 10, it was really tough. And as you get more fatigued, I mean, I've got good technique on the sandbag, but as you get more fatigued, it's very difficult to keep technique. Technique does break down as you get more fatigued. And I think towards the end, it just got to the point where I was just trying to just muscle it up in any way that I could, really. And on the 10th rep, I actually, because I was fatigued, I didn't get my technique right. And I couldn't quite get hold of the bag right, so I dropped it. And then I had to pick it up a second time, and that just really taxed me. So although after the 10th I had every intention of doing the 11th one, but by the time the 11th minute come, I just couldn't answer the call. I just couldn't keep going. This kind of reminds me of like the stone off in World's Strongest Man in a way, where they have to chuck the stone over the bar to each other, but they only get 20 seconds to do it, and they keep going until one guy can't do it. Well, after the 10th and final round, I just couldn't keep going. By the time the 11th round come, my heart felt like it was leaping out of its chest, and I just could not keep going. So I decided to call it a day. But I'm confident I can do this. I think it's where I was messing around, like trying to tie it up and all that and stuff, and it was just a lot to do really. So there we are.